All right, guys, I'm so excited about this one. Mr. C10 King, like dude that everybody knows in the whole world for C10 trucks and Cloud9 especially, but you've built a ton of super cool rigs, and we're going to go into some of that. Mr. Mike Losh of Slosh Tubs with a Z. Welcome. I'm glad to have you.
Hey, thank you, man, and thank you for all that.
Yeah. So what's neat is Mike and I there's a picture of the first time I ever drove the old truck. Once I put the overdrive pulling in it with no hood and ratty as hell, and you're right behind me in Cloud9 into a cruise night. So it was like both ends of the spectrum. I'll put that up here for everybody that's watching.
Cool.
So,
yeah, I can't wait to see that.
yeah. You probably didn't even look at that truck. You were probably, everybody was gawking and you were looking at them taking pictures.
Now wait, so. I did look at it. I said, why is there an 80 model bumper on that 65 truck?
Yep, you do remember. That's one of the neat things about car people is we always, like, people remember folks by their cars. So let's just dive right in. Let's tell everybody, kind of give us an overview of the Cloud9 story.
Well, that was my grandfather's daily driver for 26 years.
Wow.
My grandfather raised me pretty much most of my whole life. So it was a truck I learned to drive in. It was a truck I've been in love with, from the get-go.
Yep.
I mean, no matter where we went when I was a kid in the truck, every gas station, somebody tried to buy that truck.
Oh my gosh, wow.
A 67 big back glass, short wide, and black with red interior. That's how it originally was. Beautiful, as it was black and red, and he put, I don't know how many miles on. I have no clue how many miles he put on. Literally his daily driver for 26 years.
Wow. That's too cool. And then you took it and went completely next level.
Yeah, completely insane with it. And he loved every step of the way. He was my biggest supporter. So
that's awesome.
He absolutely loved it. Most grandpas would have thought that you ruined it. He thought it was the most amazing thing ever. So
that is super cool. So with that, so that truck was around your whole life.
Correct.
I mean, yep. So what is like, what's 11-year-old Mike like? It's a question I love to ask car guys because you've been a car guy for a long, long time, sounds like. So is 11-year-old Mike a car guy?
Never done anything else. No, I didn't play sports. I didn't hunt. I didn't fish. All I've ever done was cars. That's it.
That's awesome. So I think you answered one of my questions a while ago. Is like, what did you learn to drive in? I mean, did you learn to drive in that truck?
But that was it.
God, dude, that's so awesome.
Me and my sister both learned to drive in that truck. I'm not sure we actually learned the three on the tree completely, but we both learned it.
That's awesome. So now, did you daily that truck as like a 16, 17-year-old, or did you have something else?
No, he was still driving it at that point. He drove till I was, I would say 23, 24.
That's awesome.
He drove it forever. So no, that was, I couldn't pry it out of his hands then. I had to find him another truck before I could ever get that one out of his hands. So.
Oh my gosh. So what was your first car or truck then?
65 Chevy.
Yeah. Hey.
Small back glass. Yep. My very first truck. Orange and white. Awesome. White wagon spokes, spinners, the whole works.
All of it. All of the stuff. That's so funny. So have you always lived? So you live in Siloam.
Yes,
area, right? So have you always been in that area?
Well, I was born and raised in Cherokee City, which is 15 miles outside of Siloam. So yeah, I was actually born in Siloam, but I lived out there with my grandpa most of my life. So
that's cool. So being around all that stuff, what did you do? What was your first job?
Mowing lawns. My uncle had a lawn mowing business, and I started with him when I was 14. So
that's awesome. So it's funny. The more we talk, the more our stories are a lot alike. Because I mowed yards for 2 years to get enough money to work on my old truck that my grandfather had before. So yeah, we're gonna have a ton.
it's an awesome way to do it, man. There's good money in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
the last 3 years. So
yeah, I was gonna say at 14 years old, dude, like $25 a yard a week is a bunch. You got, especially if you got 5 or 6 yards, you know.
Exactly.
Yep, that's awesome. So before we start down the Slosh Tub story, if anybody has ever followed you on any social media stuff, they know you're married because every Wednesday there's the WCW post. So
I couldn't do it without him.
Yep. So how long have you guys been married?
26 years.
God, she's put up with you that long. That's awesome.
She's been a lucky girl for 26 and a half years.
That's exactly right. Now, you guys have some kids. Your son, I don't know your daughter's name, right? You have a daughter?
Yep. Chandler.
Yep.
Chandler's my daughter and Harrison's my son.
So are they both car? Because the son is definitely a car guy. Is she car?
No, not at all. She wants the Studebaker in the end, and she loves cool old. She likes old bubbly pastel cars. So that's what she likes.
That's awesome. So now most folks may not know, but your son took up the lawn mowing bug you had, and did that. Is he still mowing yards and taking care of stuff?
Well, he just quit because he just started college at U of A. So. So he had to let it go for now, but it's been good to him for 3 years now. So yeah.
Yep. And Slosh cuts. That's right. And he drove an OBS truck that was lowered and wheels and all that kind of cool stuff. So.
Well, my main truck in high school was a '95 Mazda that was red and lowered and snug top, everything that was cool then. And so I thought my dream truck at that point when I was in high school would have been a 95 short wide.
Oh my God. Yep.
When I found a red 95 short wide when he was getting ready to be driving, I thought, what could be more perfect,
Right.
That was
yep.
my dream truck in high school. So give me an excuse to buy another car.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So what was your career before you started Slosh Tubs?
I worked in a factory for 6 years building electric motors. Then my wife seen an ad one day for a car sales job, and she's like, "You need to get out of the factory. You need to go sell cars." I was like, I don't know if I can do that or not. She calls me back and says, "Hey, you got an interview at Daryl Hickman Chevrolet."
Oh my God. So hang on, you're maybe dating yourself a little bit there. Daryl Hickman's been out for a little bit.
That's right, a long time. About 17 years now.
Oh my gosh. Is it
I've been in the car for 23 now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it sad that I remember when Daryl Hickman was open because I was selling cars?
Yep. Old people here.
No, man, I tell you, long time car business folks for sure. So I would love to pick your brain on that in a future podcast for sure, and kind of go down some of those stories, and because we definitely chewed some of the same asphalt for a long time.
For sure.
Yep. So if people are listening that have never sold cars or been in that business, it's 6 days a week, 70 hours a week, 60 to 70 hours a week. How do you balance starting Slosh Tubs and selling cars? I just that's the story. That's why this whole thing was written, was how did you do that?
It's absolutely insane. My wife carries so much of the other stuff because of the amount of hours that I work that it's been insane. There's no balance there. It's just, I get up at 5 o'clock most mornings. I work before I go to work at my real job, and then I work during my real job. I work on Slosh Tubs too, and then after I work on Slosh Tubs. So
God, that's crazy. So for everybody that's been under a rock for the last 6 or 8 years, what is a slosh tub?
Well, basically my pet peeve was all these guys slamming these trucks and letting their engine compartments look absolutely terrible. You know, everybody left their hoods down. Nobody did anything with their engine compartments. And I love the clean street rod side of engine compartments. And so when I was building Cloud 9, I started to develop an inner fender. I was like, somebody's got to make an inner fender for one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And well, go back on that. I didn't start to make an inner fender for one of these. I started to make me a set of inner fenders.
Yep.
During that process, my grandfather sold the farm, literally, and that's where my shop was.
Oh, man.
A third of the way into building these, and then I didn't have a shop anymore.
Oh,
and so then I'm in a, tizzy trying to figure out what to do, and one of my buddies, Gary Angel, was working at a shop, and I said, "Man, can you help me bring into fruition what I'm trying to accomplish here?"
Mm-hmm.
And so the shop he was working at, Next Hot Rods, they helped me complete and finish them. But
wow, that's cool.
At that point, I had so much money in a set of inner fenders that we were like, what in the world? What can I do to get some of this money back?
Right.
And I was big on the 67 to 72 Chevy truck forum at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And, during the build thread, people were watching, and I don't even remember who it was, but somebody suggested, why don't you pull a mold off of those and reproduce them?
You're like,
would anybody buy a fiberglass inner fender? That seems kind of weird. And so I thought about it some more, and I thought about it. Then I found a guy that did fiberglass noses for semis. And started talking to him, and he said, man, I can build a fiberglass inner fender so strong that nothing's ever going to affect it. And so that's where it started.
You're like, well, here's some that I have a whole lot of money and don't tear them up.
and literally, it destroyed that set.
Oh, man.
They were destroyed. That crashed when we were done with the mold. So, yeah, all of that money was gone except for the mold. So.
That's awesome. So then it was right on from there. So we're gonna dig into some Slosh Tub story here in a minute. But before we do that, where can everybody find you? Like social media, website, all that kind of stuff.
Slosh_Tubs on Instagram. Mike Losh and Slosh Tubs on Facebook, and www.sloshtubs.net on the web.
That's awesome. Okay. And then I always ask, because you are a busy man, what is, if somebody new is going to go and they want to talk to you about sets, because you don't only offer just the tubs, but a ton of stuff, like 30 something items, I think, or 25 items or something. What is the preferred way that you would like them to reach out to you? Like,
the easiest way is to do it on the internet if you're wanting to place an order. But I get calls all day, every day. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not with a customer on the car lot, I'll answer the call. I mean, I think most of the people you talk to that have ever done business with me know that I'll answer a call anytime. Sunday, Saturday, morning, night. I mean, I try to think of what I wanted when I'm ordering parts, you know. I want service. I want somebody to help me. I use the same thing I use in the car business. Treat people like you want to be treated. Yeah. And, typically works for me. So
that's awesome. And I'll put all of the links to all that stuff, probably except your personal page. I'll put all the links like to the business side of stuff down in the show notes so people can just direct link from there. And hopefully that'll be great. So what is the farthest that you've ever sent a set of Slosh Tubs?
That is a, man, I just sent a set to Japan. I've got some in Dubai.
Wow.
I've got some in, I believe, Turkey. I've got them all over. I've got several.
That's awesome.
If I could figure out a little better way of shipping, I've got a couple sets in Australia. Lots of them in Canada. Got all the Canada guys up there.
That's
yeah,
cool, man.
I haven't found a good way to get them to them unless somebody's got a container going over. Yeah, some of these guys pay a lot of money. The guy I sent to in Dubai, I sent him to Florida, and he shipped them from Florida to Dubai. They were there in like 3 days. I don't know what he spent on shipping.
A bunch. He's like, yeah, just send the jet. Go get it for me. That's crazy. Right? So with offering so many products, how do you decide like to when you add a product? One thing, and I'll just back up 1 second, because one thing I did notice is like a lot of the stuff you offer is a lot of stuff you've built as well. So like you built like a first gen C10, you know, obviously the 67, 72 truck, things like that. So like, is that typically when you kind of develop, so you're like, you know, I want this to have a certain look?
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason I built Square Peg, and the reason I built Boosted Bertha was to build product. I mean,
that makes sense. It
was because I love building, but it gives me a good excuse and helps me tax write off some of it if I'm building stuff.
Well, and the thing about it too is like, if you're doing that much work, you might as well build a vehicle for it anyways, because all the other stuff is pretty easy. And as many as you've built, there's probably a few sponsors that are like, hey, we would help a little bit, you know?
Exactly. That makes it much easier.
That's awesome. So that leads into the next question of, do people offer up like test vehicles? Are they like, hey, would you build this for me?
Not yet.
So you're saying it's an option.
No. If anybody's got a 911 laying around, I'd like to build some custom parts for that.
There you go. There you go. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Do you foresee car stuff, not just truck SUV stuff in your future?
I really, my big thing is time at this point. I really want to get into cars bad. But I got 2 kids in college, and I'm scared to take that jump and leave my real job. You know, if I had the 60 plus hours a week that I'm spending in the car lot to be developing product, I would have a ton of product.
That's what I'm thinking with the. That's what I keep thinking with the podcast. I'm like, how do I do this all the time? Because like right now I do it, you know, that and the shop and work and all the other stuff. So
I understand completely. I do.
Yep. All right. So let's dig into some cars, because again, if people don't know who you are, they're under a rock, I'm telling you. But so a lot of folks know you for Cloud9. I mean, like, and before that truck, you were in the scene, obviously. I mean, you were a name, people knew who you were. But like for me, I didn't, because I was selling cars and didn't do anything in the car shows locally or anything like that. So what are some of the other cars you built and put together before that? And then I definitely want to get into what's coming next for Cloud9.
You know, but before Cloud9, I was, you know, I would say I was pretty much just a mini trucker. You know, I built a Mazda that was featured in mini trucking a long time ago. Trying to think what else. You know, I did a few C10s that were build and flip kind of rigs. I did a 72 step side and a 69 Suburban, a blue and white one with flames all the way down it and stuff like that. But really, Cloud9 was the truck that pushed me into the real show scene as far as full sizes go. Now my Mazda was smooth frame, hydraulic bed, detailed out to the max.
Dang. That's awesome. That's awesome. So because you no longer call it Cloud 9. It's a Cloud 9.5 when I see stuff now. So
yes, sir.
Give us a story for it now. What's the upgrades coming?
Well, it was a beautiful truck, and I loved the truck, but it had a lot of quirks that drove me crazy. A lot of little things like my doors didn't close right. I had a vibration that I couldn't get rid of at about 65. It was a throttle body injected 350, so it was a 230 horse truck. It looked cool, but it didn't have any scat to it. So, I thought, I had a windshield leak that I could not quit. I could not get it fixed. I'm going to blow this thing apart and fix it and make everything perfect this time.
Oh, man.
So, we've got a complete GSI chassis. We've got a fully built, all aluminum 5.7 with an LSA supercharger, full pulley system, some beautiful headers from Ultimate Header. It's just going to be got a 6-speed. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun this time with the 6-speed. Curry 9-inch blocker. Just 30. It's just got everything this time. It's going to be fun.
That's
I
awesome.
gotta fix all those little things that drove me nuts last time. So, of course, that's been 4 years since I've tore it apart, and
hey, perfection takes a long time.
I've got to work on it, actually. But soon. I'm not done with the FJ40, so it'll be back to Cloud 9 soon. So
there you go. So that actually leads right into, man, me and you are like on the same wavelength, dude. So what are the other projects you've got going on in the shop right now?
Well, my son's got a FJ40 that he just loves, and it belonged to a good friend of mine, Merv Fleshman, and he finally sold it to me, and it's just a fun rig. And so I've just been updating it to make it daily drivable for him, put Dakota Digital on it, put a Holly Sniper EFI on it, new engine, bigger tires,
just stuff, just putting it together. That's awesome. So you've got that truck. He still have the OBS?
Yes, yeah. That's still his daily driver most of the time. So the FJ40 is kind of his play toy.
That's cool. And then
he's a little spoiled.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, if your dad's into cars, you kind of got to have some stuff. You got to have some cool stuff. So at one point, you had a 1-ton dually. You still have the dually?
Nope, sold the dually. And I've got a 15 Duramax now that I use to tow my big trailer. So
there you go, to all the shows. Because how many shows a year do you attend?
We do about 5 big shows a year. That's about, with me working in the car business, Saturdays it's tough to get away.
Yep. Yeah. What's funny is I don't ever remember like them talking about paid time off or you got like a week vacation a year, but I don't know if I ever took it, So
the funny thing is they always say the hours are flexible when you're looking for a sales job. Yeah. That means you're flexible, not them.
Yeah. Well, and here's the biggest thing. Jim used to tell me all the time, man, you can set your own schedule, just sell 30 cars a month.
Exactly.
The whole Mitsubishi store. Yeah, the whole Mitsubishi store sold like 70 cars. I'm like, there ain't no way I'm selling 30.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yep. And then, you're off and like a customer shows up or so-and-so came by, you're like, ah, crap, because splitting.
Yeah, but one day I'm off.
So, yep. That's funny. So, what
And
other products? Go ahead.
the only other thing I've got is my, which it'll be the project after Cloud9, is my Studebaker that I bought a Studebaker for my grandfather to play with the last couple years he was around, and that'll be the next project. So
That's awesome. So what's the plan for it? Just going to keep it original, or are you going to go Slosh?
I'm pretty much, I'm going to leave the body alone. It's an original paint car, original interior car. It's in crazy shape. I'm just going to pull the body off the chassis and make everything underneath it new. And
That's
drive
cool, man.
it.
Yeah.
LS swap it and make it look like an old Studebaker engine.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. I remember seeing some pictures of him, like maybe right after you guys got it at a cruise night, Rib Crib or something inside.
Yeah, that's right. That's the night we gave it to him.
Yeah, I can barely remember my kid's birthday, but I remember that picture. Welcome to being a car guy, I guess. So what other products do you have kind of on your mind that you're thinking maybe Slosh Tubs will bring?
Well, my next product is an OBS mild tub for the OBS guy. That's the next thing on my list. So
that's awesome.
I've got 3 or 4 little products coming out here, like a battery tray and an updated firewall filler panel for 67 to 72s, and a few little things like that that'll be releasing any day now in the next couple of weeks. But my next big one is going to be the mild tubs for the OBS guys.
Man, that's cool. That's cool. I've got to make some time to get over there and hang out with you, and just because your shop is really cool too. You always you have pictures and stuff on your social media of in the shop.
It's a disaster right now. You don't want to be in there.
Whose isn't? I mean, I would hate for you to come over and see mine. You wouldn't even step foot in my shop. So let's talk about the future of Slosh Tubs. Like what give us like a 5-year thought process. Not to put you on the spot.
Okay, here's my 5-year thought process. 4 years, my son will be out of college, and I can quit my real job and just go full-time Slosh Tub.
Just be traveling the country, buy an RV, and sell Slosh Tubs.
Exactly. That's once I get him through college. My daughter's got 1 year left, and my son has 4 years. But as soon as he's out, I want to cut loose and just go full time. So that's
awesome, man. That's awesome. So I guess that's also a question like that I have too, is like, what's the future hold for you? And looks like you and Mama Losh going to be loaded up in an RV and cruising the country.
That would be my ideal thing. If I can load up and go to spend 3 or 4 days at a show and spend a couple extra days sightseeing, and make a living doing it, that would be ideal. Get to go to car shows and still make a living. I mean, that's
man. Does it get better? Does it get better? I don't know. Well, here's what I'll tell you. I've only got 4 more questions left, and it's the same thing I ask everybody. But what will be neat is as we go through the future, and you're back on here several times, so get ready. It'll be neat to see you get more towards that goal, because I mean, as long as you've had it, I mean, I can't imagine that not have been your goal kind of from the beginning. So let's get down to these last 4.
Okay.
What is the fastest you've ever driven?
Man, I've never had anything fast.
I'm talking now. You have sold cars forever. You've been in a Corvette doing 130. I know.
That's probably it. That's probably it. Honestly, I've never got. Boosted Bertha was supposed to be about an 850 horse truck, and unfortunately, with all the complications we had with that, I never got to really go out and see what it would do.
That's awesome.
That's my big regret on that one. But No, I've never had anything. The Cloud 9 should be around 650 horse with the 6-speed and all the right stuff. Carry 9-inch QA1 carbon fiber drive shaft. I should be able to get out there and finally have some fun.
And finally go 150.
Exactly. I want to go to Good Guys and
yeah, do the autocross and all that stuff.
And get thrown out because I was going too fast. That's my
right. Goal. I like it. So you start with old, like you start with regular trucks. It's not like you're buying all new parts and pieces to build the stuff you've built. So are you a WD-40 or PB Blaster kind of guy?
PB Blaster.
Man, all the way. Yep. You're like 90-something% of everybody has said the same thing. They just need to knock the smell out somehow.
Exactly.
And then are you a gloves or bare hands kind of guy?
Gloves.
Yep.
Gloves.
If you're shaking people's hands all day, it's hard to have, especially if you're tearing apart an old engine. All right, last one, and this one may be a little harder. And I think I'm going to start giving people a heads up on this question. So what is unlimited budget, doesn't matter, dream car, dream build?
Oh, man, I'm a big Porsche nut. So,
yeah,
give us one. I would go full out on a Porsche build.
That's awesome. Here's what I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about like business ideas that were crazy and outlandish, right? And I was like, I think I'm going to start doing crazy, outlandish car builds. So hear me out. Mid 80s 911, all GT3 RS underpinnings from like a late model Porsche, right?
Yeah. Gives me Rod Morey jitters.
Right? All right, dude.
Oh, dude, you need to look at some of his stuff. He's the Porsche king. Rod Emery. Yeah, he's amazing.
Heck yeah.
He just built a bad 356 Momo for Momo, 356 for Momo, and it's got all pretty much what you just described, all under an old 56.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. All right, dude. Well, hey, I'll let you get back to the family and all that stuff. I certainly appreciate you coming on.
Hey, for having us.
Worked on getting it like 4 or 5 days so we could sync up. And next time I'll come to you, I promise.
Awesome. We'll look forward to it. I'll clean the shop. Let me know ahead of time.
Yeah, don't even do that. Don't spend that kind of time. All right, I'm gonna shut it off here.